Most players lose their first Battlefield 6 match before they even hit deploy. They don't realize that the real fight starts long before the first bullet leaves the barrel, inside the settings menu. When you launch the game for the first time, everything looks incredible. The lighting, the chaos, the roar of jets overhead. But under that surface hides a maze of defaults that quietly drag you down. Over-sharpened visuals, motion blur, camera shake that turns every explosion into a migraine. It's cinematic for trailers, but brutal for gameplay. Here's the truth. If you jump straight into a match without tweaking anything, you're already fighting at half power. Every pro you see dominating the scoreboard, they didn't just practice aim, they practiced preparation. Battlefield 6 rewards players who understand it. Once you strip away the fluff and tune the settings right, the game transforms from chaos into clarity. Suddenly, you're not lost in particle effects. You're reading the battlefield like a book. So, before you hit that matchmaking button, take a deep breath, because these are the secrets that turn a confused recruit into a focused soldier. Let's start with what you see. Battlefield 6 looks stunning out of the box, but it also tries way too hard to look like a movie. The default sharpening filter adds an artificial crispness that makes distant textures sparkle and grains shimmer. It's like playing inside a glitter bomb. Drop that slider all the way down. Instantly, the world looks cleaner, smoother, more natural. Next, turn off the usual suspects: vignette, chromatic aberration, film grain, and motion blur. These don't make you a better player. They just make your screen a smear of light and noise every time something explodes. The difference after disabling them is night and day. You'll wonder how you ever played with them on. While you're in the graphics tab, find camera shake and bobbing amount. Crank both to the lowest setting. That single change makes firefights feel grounded instead of dizzying. You'll track enemies faster, recover from recoil quicker, and keep your eyes locked on targets instead of fighting your own screen. Then fix your crosshair. By default, it's barely visible during heavy combat. Open the reticle customization menu, increase thickness and intensity, and add a border. Don't choose a bright color that pops against every environment. Some players swear by neon pink. I've switched to electric blue. It cuts through smoke, sand, and sky perfectly. And don't forget the minimap. Make it as large as possible. It might not look like much, but that extra half-inch of radar awareness wins you fights before they start. Knowing that an enemy squad is flanking you from the left saves your life more often than fancy aim ever will. Visual clarity is step one. Once your eyes are tuned, the next step is your ears. Because Battlefield 6's audio system can either make you a god of awareness or a confused bystander, depending on how you set it up. Battlefield's sound design is world-class. Bullets crack, tanks thunder, and every map has its own acoustic identity. But to unlock that advantage, you have to set it up correctly. First thing, turn down the tinnitus effect, that high-pitched ringing after explosions. Cool for realism, terrible for awareness. Dial it back so you can actually hear footsteps when the dust settles. Then, in the audio output settings, select headphones if you're wearing them. It sounds obvious, but the game doesn't always detect it automatically. Using the wrong mix mode can flatten directional sound and make it impossible to tell if someone's behind you or above you. Experiment with the sound mix profiles. DICE includes several, and some prioritize clarity over volume. Try the high fidelity or war tapes mixes depending on your setup. One might emphasize gunfire positioning, better on your particular headset. Lastly, lower the music volume to around 30%. Battlefield's end-of-match tracks are epic, but when you're trying to clutch a 1 versus 3 in a collapsing skyscraper, that soundtrack can drown the very cues that keep you alive. Get the sound right, and suddenly you're predicting fights instead of reacting to them. You'll hear a distant reload, reposition, and catch the enemy completely off guard. It feels like ESP, but it's just good settings. Now that you can see and hear perfectly, it's time to feel in control, because bad keybinds and sluggish sensitivity ruin more matches than bad aim ever could. Battlefield 6 gives you absurd freedom to tailor controls, and that's both a blessing and a trap. If you never explore it, the defaults will slow you down. Start with your hold versus toggle preferences. Most players don't realize how much fatigue toggling causes. If you're sprinting, crouching, or aiming down sights constantly, set them to hold. It keeps movement responsive and natural. Personally, I'm a hold to sprint, hold to crouch kind of player. Less accidental slides, more precision. Speaking of slides, disable double tap to slide, unless you enjoy your soldier randomly belly flopping mid-gunfight. The PC community unanimously agrees it's the first thing to go. Next, check auto lean and auto peek. They sound useful, but in close quarters fights, they'll make your character lunge out of cover at the worst time. Turn them off until you can handle those actions manually. Once you've customized infantry controls, dive into the sensitivity settings. Battlefield 6 allows unique sensitivity for every vehicle type: infantry, tank, heli, jet. Spend a few minutes flying and driving to dial them in. The default heli sensitivity feels like steering a refrigerator. Crank it to around 200% and suddenly it dances through the sky. Tanks, on the other hand, need slower, deliberate control, so ease them down to around 60%. Don't skip the dead zone adjustments either. Fine-tuning them gives smoother aim and eliminates drift that can ruin sniping. After you finish, test it in the training range. You'll instantly feel the difference. Every movement crisp, every action deliberate. No more fighting your controls. Now, the controls fight for you. You've got vision, hearing, and control locked in. That covers the physical side of Battlefield. Next comes the mental game, progression, efficiency, and unlocking the tools that separate casuals from commanders. Battlefield 6 hides a small tab that might be the most valuable screen in the entire game: challenges. Inside are daily tasks, weekly missions, and universal assignments that quietly govern your progress. Ignore them, and you'll level at a snail's pace. Focus on them, and you'll unlock gear faster than most players even realize it exists. Track 4 assignments at a time, so you always know what to chase mid-match. Maybe it's get 30 kills with the adrenaline injector, or repair vehicles for 2,000 points. Doing these naturally integrates the grind into your gameplay instead of turning it into homework. Some assignments unlock essential gadgets, like the spawn beacon for the Assault class. Without it, your squad wastes precious seconds respawning miles away from objectives. To get it, you'll need rank 20 and those 30 adrenaline kills. So plan early, and don't forget your bonuses. Owning the game net's a permanent 5% XP boost. Squatting up adds another 5%. You can also earn timed XP boosters and stack them. Pop a 15-minute one on top of a 30-minute, and you've got 45 minutes of double XP glory. This is where Battlefield 6 quietly rewards awareness. Every match has 2 layers: the firefight you see and the progress bar you don't. If you manage both, you'll always stay ahead of the curve. Now that you're climbing ranks faster than ever, let's talk about what those ranks actually give you, the gear and gadgets that define your playstyle. One gadget changed the entire pace of early matches: the sledgehammer. It might sound like a joke, but this thing is pure utility. It breaks through walls, roofs, and cover like paper. Suddenly, every building becomes a shortcut or an ambush point. Best part? It's not locked to any class. Equip it everywhere. There's no feeling better than smashing a hole in a wall, tossing a grenade through, and storming the room while enemies are still spinning to figure out what happened. For Assault players, ammo management is everything. By default, you carry 2 primaries, and your ammo splits between them. Swap that second gun for a gadget instead, and all ammo funnels into your main rifle. Twice the shots, twice the uptime, 0 frustration. Every class has quirks like this, small details that the tutorial never mentions. Learning them early is how you go from surviving to dominating. But the real magic comes when you unlock and master each class ability. Unique tools that transform ordinary moments into highlight reels. Battlefield 6's class system is where everything changes. Each role, Assault, Support, Engineer, and Recon, has its own rhythm, personality, and game-changing perks that reward players who actually learn how they work. This isn't just pick your favorite gun anymore. Each class is a mindset. Let's start with Assault. This is the frontline bruiser, the one kicking in doors and pushing objectives. The class gets assault rifle proficiency, giving you faster weapon draw times and the ability to fire sooner after sprinting. That might sound small, but in a head-to-head fight, it's the difference between living and watching the kill cam. Their mission-focused trait speeds up arming and disarming objectives, so every push becomes faster and more coordinated. When you play Assault right, you're not just another soldier. You're the spark that ignites every offensive. Then there's Support, the backbone of every good squad. They carry LMG proficiency, allowing faster aim-down sight times and no movement penalties. Imagine charging through crossfire, gun already braced, mowing down enemies while your team grabs ammo and health directly from your backpack. You're the reason the squad doesn't crumble. Engineers are the problem solvers. With SMG proficiency for tight hipfire control and reduced explosive damage near friendly vehicles, they live in the chaos zone, repairing, defending, and denying the enemy any chance to steal your team's armor. Ever had someone jump into your tank after you hopped out to fix it? Engineers stop that cold. And finally, the Recon. Sniper rifle proficiency means steadier aim, quicker rechambering, and longer breath control. But their real superpower is Aim Spot, which auto-marks enemies just by aiming down sights. You become a moving radar for your team, feeding intel in real time. Combine that with the UAV unlock, and you're practically rewriting the minimap every few seconds. Each ability changes how you think and move. They're not gimmicks, they're power multipliers. Once you learn to time them together, whole battles start shifting around your squad's presence. And here's the kicker. Those traits don't exist in isolation, they interact. An Assault's faster objective play pairs perfectly with a Support feeding them ammo while an Engineer fortifies the flank. When the Recon UAV pings enemies through the fog, it's not just information, it's coordination. That's what Battlefield has always been about, chaos with purpose. But to really understand how deep the new system goes, you have to see how these powers tie into the invisible meta that's already forming behind the scenes. The veterans are already dissecting Battlefield 6 like it's a living organism, finding patterns that casual players overlook. And once you know these meta mechanics, you'll start predicting fights like a psychic. Take sniping, for example. The sweet spot mechanic is back. Every bolt action rifle has a magic range where an upper body hit guarantees a knockout. Learn that range, and suddenly you're landing one-shots that leave enemies questioning reality. And if you ever notice a sniper's glint shimmering with a rainbow tint, that's your warning. You're standing right in their sweet spot. Move. Fast. Down but not out has been redesigned too. The new HUD shows who can revive you and how far they are. If a medic tags you for revival, hang tight. You'll see a little icon confirming it. Don't waste the ticket. Those few seconds of patience can change the outcome of an objective. The revive system, ammo sharing, and class synergy all feed into a rhythm where squads operate like living machines. You start anticipating where teammates will be, when they'll peak, when they'll push. That awareness doesn't just make you better, it makes the whole team unstoppable. And that's the secret Battlefield 6 hides in plain sight. It's not a shooter built for lone wolves, it's a symphony. You either learn the melody, or you get lost in the noise. When all these pieces click, the audio awareness, the tune sensitivity, the unlocked class perks, something incredible happens. The chaos becomes calm. Every explosion feels planned, every victory feels earned. That's the moment you realize Battlefield 6 isn't just bigger than before, it's smarter. Picture this. You drop onto the map for your first real match. Loadout tuned, settings perfected. The lighting feels clean, not blinding. Your crosshair is bright, your mini-map clear, your sound crisp. The squad spawns beside you. Assault, support, engineer, recon, each filling their role like clockwork. You sprint across the open field, catch the echo of an approaching heli through your headphones, duck behind cover before the rockets hit. You peek out, tag the pilot for your recon, and watch a perfect headshot bring the machine crashing down. Moments later, you and your support buddy breach a building. The sledgehammer tears through a wall like paper. Enemies scatter. You swap loadouts mid-spawn, grab the gadget you need, and hold the point as the scoreboard surges. Every tiny decision you made in the menus before this match, every slider moved, every sensitivity adjusted, is paying off right now. You're not reacting anymore. You're controlling the flow of war. And when the victory screen rolls, that's not luck, that's mastery. Let's rewind to those first 7 hours. As Steam users dropped into massive 128-player battles, EA app users sat staring at locked menus. Every fix suggested by the community failed. Verifying files, reinstalling, restarting. Nothing worked. The official Battlefield account finally tweeted, "We are aware of an issue preventing players from accessing the game, with some receiving an error, stating they need to purchase D, L, C, or similar." That post landed like a grenade. The comment section erupted with memes, frustration, and disbelief. "You waited 6 years for this and can't even spawn in," one fan wrote. Behind the scenes, support lines flooded. Streamers canceled launch day events. People who had scheduled 12-hour marathons sat in their chairs, watching the timer tick. And then came the wildest part of all. Battlefield's own boss, Vince Zampella, started tweeting, publicly, about how furious he was. Executives usually hide during disasters. Not this time. Vince went full gamer mode on Twitter, replying to players in real time. When one fan begged for updates, he shot back, "Can you refund and buy on Steam?" A sentence nobody expected from the head of Battlefield. That moment said everything. The frustration wasn't just with players, it was inside the studio too. The people who built the game couldn't stand watching fans locked out. Vince followed up with posts like, "I've yelled about the EA app," and honestly embarrassing. It was raw, unfiltered, and, oddly enough, refreshing. For the first time in years, the community saw that the leadership actually cared. They weren't hiding behind PR statements. They were venting right alongside the players. But sympathy alone wouldn't fix the mess. Something big had to happen, and fast. Roughly 7 hours after launch, DICE pushed a fix. EA app players restarted their clients, and finally, the main menu loaded. Relief washed over the community, but the damage was done. Social feeds were filled with exhaustion and sarcasm. People wanted compensation. DICE listened. Within hours, a new message appeared. "We experienced an outage on the EA app that prevented players from accessing Battlefield 6. To apologize, affected players will receive 12 hardware and 12 career 60-minute boosters, plus access to a full seasonal battle pass. That's 12 hours of double XP and free premium content. An enormous gesture in today's gaming landscape. Players who had fumed all morning started posting again that night, this time saying, "Okay, fair play, DICE. You owned it. The fix worked, the rewards rolled in." And slowly, the tone shifted from anger to excitement. Even critics admitted the recovery was shockingly fast. But the real story wasn't the compensation. It was what came next. Because despite the rough start, Battlefield 6 didn't just survive launch week, it shattered records. Just one day later, Battlefield 6 hit 747,000 concurrent players on Steam alone. That's not just a strong debut, it's the 14th most played game in Steam history. And remember, that doesn't count EA app, Epic Games Store, or consoles. Combine all platforms, and you're easily talking millions online at once. Even more surprising, the reviews turned positive. Early negativity melted away as players finally jumped in and saw how smooth it ran. The Steam rating climbed from mixed to very positive within hours. Comment sections filled with, "Okay, this is actually amazing." For a franchise haunted by its previous misfire, those numbers were redemption in real time. And yet, as fans celebrated, a bigger question started floating around. How did a launch this messy still result in a community this loyal? That answer lies in what DICE quietly pulled off under the hood. The moment people finally logged in, they could tell something was different. From the very first firefight, the pacing felt tighter, the visuals sharper, the chaos more deliberate. Every weapon kick, every explosion carried weight. The game felt alive. One streamer said it best: "It just clicks." There was no awkward lag, no clunky hit registration, just crisp gunfights and the kind of destruction that made Battlefield famous in the first place. Buildings splintered, bridges collapsed, smoke rolled across the sky. It wasn't scripted spectacle. It was the kind of dynamic mayhem that happens when a developer finally stops holding back. That's because Battlefield 6 isn't split between generations. It's pure current-gen power. No more last-gen bottlenecks, no more watered-down physics. DICE built this game with one focus: push the limits. And for the first time in years, that gamble worked. But the technical leap is only half the story. The real magic lies in the feel, the return of that classic Battlefield rhythm, where teamwork, chaos, and creativity collide. You're not just running and gunning, you're part of something massive. When a tank barrels through a building to rescue your squad, you don't forget it. So how did DICE pull this off after years of setbacks? To understand that, we have to look at the culture shift that happened behind the scenes. After the 2042 disaster, DICE was fractured, morale was low, and the studio had lost its identity. Internally, people described it as a team chasing ghosts. Instead of building what they loved, they were reacting, patching, fixing, apologizing. Then something changed. Leadership stripped away the noise. They told teams to focus on fun first. The mantra became, if it's not fun, it doesn't ship. Artists, designers, and engineers started working shoulder to shoulder again, like in the early Battlefield, 3 days. It sounds small, but that shift reignited everything. Developers started staying late not because they had to, but because they wanted to perfect details, like how light flickers through dust after an explosion, or how the sound of a helicopter changes when you duck behind cover. That spark of passion shows in every match. You can feel the confidence behind the design. Battlefield 6 doesn't apologize for being chaotic, it celebrates it. And that attitude, make it big, make it wild, make it Battlefield, is exactly what the fans wanted back. Still, not everything is perfect. Beneath all the excitement, players started spotting a few cracks that needed smoothing out. Here's the bottom line. Battlefield 6 is pure chaos, but controlled chaos favors the prepared. If you walk in blind, the game will overwhelm you. If you take 10 minutes to tune it, you'll start seeing opportunities that others miss. You'll hear footsteps before they round corners. You'll peek smarter, move faster, and turn near misses into highlight reels. That's not hype. It's muscle memory built from setup. So next time you boot up the game, don't just click play. Own it, craft it, make it yours before the match even begins. Because the real battle isn't the one on the map, it's the one in your settings. And once you win that, you've already won everything else. If this helped you gear up for the chaos, drop a like, share it with your squad, and stick around. The next guide dives even deeper: class strategies, vehicle tricks, and the secret gadgets pros swear by. Until then, stay sharp, stay smart, and I'll see you on the battlefield.